Welcome to another episode of Health Your Own Way podcast, where we discuss health issues ranging from physical, mental, emotional, as well as current facts. Today we're going to be discussing about seasonal depression, and my special guest is Renee Raymond, who's a registered psychotherapist. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad. I'm surprised. This is her second time. If you missed the first one on mental health, go check it out. It was really good. I think for a lot of people, we all know there's so many definitions of depression. Mm-hmm. I think high level, how would you describe depression itself?
Yeah, so depression is sort of like prolonged feelings of sadness.
Okay.
You're feeling low energy. You're not really feeling motivated to do the things that you enjoy doing.
I feel like that every day.
We do at different times. So it can come and go. There's a difference between depression and, like, for instance, major depression. But feelings of depression are things that we all feel at different points in our lives.
Yeah,
some of us at different points in the day.
Yes.
And so it's just really that again, feelings of sadness, lack of energy, not really feeling motivated.
Okay, I can see that, and that makes sense because that's when your whole entire mood just comes down. Mm-hmm. Then, I know because it's a huge topic itself, and there's different variations of depression. Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to be specifically talking about seasonal depression, and I guess for viewers, what is seasonal depression, and does it really exist?
Yeah, so seasonal depression really is real.
Okay.
A lot of times it starts happening around, like the fall, winter, when we start having less light.
Okay.
We shift into winter. The lack of light can affect our like our biological clock.
Oh.
Affects sometimes the way that our brain processes things that we call like neurotransmitters. So,
okay.
Things that influence motivation,
really?
As well as things that influence our neurotransmitters like serotonin, which influences our mood.
Yes.
Or affects our mood, or appetite, energy levels, sleep patterns, things like that.
Would that explain why a lot of people tend to gain the extra 20 or 30 pounds during the winter time because they're home all day?
It can.
And they don't want to leave their house?
It can. It can, for some people, they're not really affected by it.
Okay.
But for some other people, just having less light, it does affect us. It affects how our brain works and our motivation and our mood. And so a lot of things that can come with that are some of the feelings of depression. So you're not really feeling as motivated, you're staying in, it's cold, it's dark.
So you isolate yourself and you become like basically just isolate yourself. And I think sorry, let me step back. What can cause it? Because you said less light, so is it light only a cause to the issue, or is there other things that could play a factor into seasonal depression?
Yeah, so it's mainly focused around the lack of light or less light around that time of year. Even things like daylight savings, again,
I know that.
You notice things like people start getting into more accidents and they're not feeling as well. And
if you look at it was just dark.
And that's where a lot of it can come from. And it can look different for different people.
Okay.
So like you said, some people will isolate themselves. Some people will eat more. Some people just don't feel as full of energy. So depending on the person, they can react to it differently if they're experiencing
light
that.
is really some of the causes of seasonal depression.
Yes.
And then I'm thinking, if this is some of the causes itself, what are some of the treatments that could assist them, or if they, I guess not, let's step back. If they don't get treated, can this cause any health issues for them? Yeah, so
some people who might have more intense bouts with seasonal depression, they might, their health could be affected. So let's say they're not really going out to see people anymore. Their social life is starting to suffer.
Okay.
Their ability to do the things that they enjoy starts to suffer. They might sleep more, or have interruptions.
Would that be more like the early signs of when you can tell someone's dealing with seasonal depression as well?
It can be, yes.
Okay, sorry.
That's looking at some of those signs and symptoms. The person might personally notice that they're feeling that way, or other people might notice that, hey, I'm not seeing this person as much, or they look very tired. They're complaining about interrupted sleep. Their eating habits might be off.
So then, if I guess for people that are watching or listening, if you're seeing your friends as isolating or stuff like that, and they're just keeping themselves back from going out, those are early signs. Are there ways to assist them in respects to that? Like maybe, or even tell them they may need to see a psychotherapist or somebody, or talk to somebody?
Yeah. So I always say take symptoms and signs and things like that. very, very openly, it might be best to ask some questions about what's happening.
Okay.
You know, someone could be, let's say, working a lot and they're just really tired, and that there could be some legitimate reasons to that. But if it is happening and you're noticing that something doesn't seem like it's fitting right with someone in your life, ask some questions.
Okay.
That person may find it beneficial to speak to someone. They might have to push themselves a little bit to get out of the house, to engage in activities that they might not initially feel motivated to do.
Okay.
And then to sort of see the benefits on the other side once they've engaged in them.
So I guess I'm just thinking while you're saying this is like a lot of times during the winter time, a lot of people just go on hibernation. And I think maybe one of the things we can do as friends or families, like touch base with some of the people, your friends, and once in a while say hi and see how they're doing, because you never know if they're dealing with seasonal depression. And I think one of my questions I was thinking is it what kind of treatments can, if once you realize you have seasonal depression, or once you know someone has seasonal depression, what are some of the treatments that they could do or themselves, or do they need to seek help to get treatment for that?
Yeah, so actually one of the best treatments is light therapy.
Light therapy?
Light therapy.
Okay.
So it's, if you think about like the fact that our bodies are not getting as much sunlight or much daylight as in like the summer and spring months, spending some time in the mornings or at various points in the day with light around them. They actually have these little light lamps that you can turn on. You can use a traditional lamp that you have. But giving your brain and your eyes that light and giving it time to sort of absorb that can help to sort of balance out some of those neurotransmitters and getting you feeling a little bit more motivated to engage in your regular life.
But then, okay, so that's one of the treatments. So, if they don't know how to do that, are they going to be seeking out a psychotherapist for that, or?
Yeah, so a psychotherapist, other therapists might recommend something like that. They're non-prescription devices, so you can even order one on Amazon.
Really?
Other things that you can do and a therapist might recommend. So some of my clients who've had seasonal depression, I will recommend exercise. It's a great mood boost.
Yes,
exercise is always a great mood boost.
Yes.
Again, because of your motivation, is your dopamine or your motivation might be being impacted by seasonal depression. Initially, you might not feel motivated to engage in these activities, but it can be it can assist someone in sort of feeling better throughout the day if they're engaging in regular exercise.
That makes sense.
Because you kind of health benefits for exercise.
It's okay. So then. I like what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think for a lot of viewers that are interested in this and want to seek out some assistance, like how and they like what you're saying. I guess what I'm saying is, how can they reach out to you? What are you on social media, Instagram, website? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So you can find me on Psychology Today if you search for Renee Raymond.
Yes. I'll have information.
Also, I have my Instagram page, so it's Mindfully You Wellness.
Yes, we'll be tagging her too. Go ahead.
You tag me, find me. But yeah, it's great sometimes to touch base with a therapist, psychotherapist, to look at what solutions would be good for you and for your lifestyle. Because again, different things for different people, depending on what's happening in your life. We might suggest you start somewhere and work on one thing, or you might need to do a few different things to help you.
I think, and then I guess one of the questions I'm just thinking now is, maybe some people are thinking, how long is seasonal depression? Is it like a 1 month thing or a 2 month thing? Or, because I know once summer comes, everybody's outside.
Yeah, so it depends on the person. Some people are really affected when, like at the early stages of the seasonal changes, when the light is decreasing.
Yeah.
And some people, after their body kind of stabilizes a bit, a few months in,
and
they feel better.
I see what you mean.
Some people don't necessarily feel better until like springtime. So it really depends. If you're feeling, I think the key thing is that if you're noticing that you're not enjoying the things that you used to anymore, have feelings of sadness, sometimes it can be feelings of anger, and it's prolonged and it's not something that you seem like you can kind of shake off. It takes a couple of days. It might be worth exploring getting some additional support.
So what she's saying is that if you are not feeling well and you notice that you're not feeling well at this point in time, either you try to get yourself, you don't have to, I guess the question, not even a question, the comment itself is, you may not need to see a psychotherapist. You just need to be self-aware of what's going on with your body and take steps in that. If you can't solve them, then seek one out. So I want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, I appreciate that. And we are getting a lot of feedback in respects to, bringing you back. So if you like what she said, if you have any questions or concerns, tag us, comment, send us an email, and we'll gladly bring her back on the show. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us today on our weekly episode on Health Your Way podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and please feel free to comment below and ask any questions on topics we've discussed, as well as future topics you'd like to hear about. Have a happy and healthy week, and be sure to tune in next week for the next episode on a Health Your Own Way podcast.